I've watched businesses make the same three mistakes with AI for years, and every time the owner says the same thing afterwards. I wish someone had told me. So that's exactly what this video is. These aren't technical mistakes. You don't need to understand how large language models work or LLMs to avoid getting into these problems. These are business mistakes, the kinds that cost money, expose data, and put your reputation at risk. And they're happening right now in companies of every size. And here's the thing, AI tools in 2026 are very different to what first came out in 2022. They're better, they're safer, and there are proper business grade options that didn't even exist a few years ago. The technology has matured, but most businesses haven't changed how they're approaching the question of AI. And that's where these three main mistakes come from. I'm going to walk you through all three today, show you what they actually cost, and at the end, I'll give you specific steps to help fix each single one. No jargon, no fear, just what actually to do. So let's get straight into it. Firstly, every business owner or senior leader right now is going to industry events. Everyone's talking about AI, they're coming back to the office and signing up for a brand new AI tool, rolling it out to the team, and waiting for those productivity gains to roll in and arrive. But 6 months later, half the team have forgotten to log in, half the team tried it and went back to the old way of doing things, and the subscription's still running in the background. And the owner is quietly wondering whether the AI hype is real after all. This is the most common AI mistake I've seen, and it's the most expensive. Not because the tool was bad, but because nobody has gone through and defined what the problem is that we're trying to solve with AI. There is no target, nobody saying we're trying to cut the time it takes to produce client reports by 30%. Nobody saying our quoting process takes 2 days and we need it to be done in 2 hours instead. There was just a vague sentence. AI should help somehow, somewhere, and with the subscription. And this pattern shows up everywhere, not just in small and medium-sized businesses. McKinsey found 73% of failed AI projects lacked clear leadership alignment on what success actually meant. More than half lost leadership within 6 months. The enthusiasm must start from the top, but without a defined outcome, it just evaporates over time. So, here's how this connects to you as the business owner or business leader. You are the strategy. If you haven't personally defined the business problem AI is supposed to solve, nobody else will. Gallup found only 15% of employees say their workplace has communicated a clear AI strategy. That means your team is either guessing or they've already stopped trying when it comes to AI. But the flip side of this is where it gets interesting. Cisco studied 8,000 business leaders across 30 different markets. The top 13%, companies they call pace setters, reported 90% gains in profitability, productivity, and innovation, compared to about 60% for everyone else. And the difference? They didn't just adopt AI, they adopted it with a purpose. They connected every tool to a specific business outcome and measured whether it had actually worked. So the shift here isn't don't use AI, it's know why you're using it before you even start. And here's a question I ask every business owner or leader. Do you actually know what AI tools your team is using right now? Because the answer is almost certainly more than you think. Your employees are trying to work faster, which is a great instinct, but if nobody has told them which tools are approved, what data they can put into them, and what the rules are, they're going to be making those decisions on their own. And most of them are defaulting to free versions of ChatGPT or personal accounts. Now, in 2022, that's all there was. Free tools, no business options, and no guardrails. But it's 2026. Every major AI provider offers a business tier plan where your data isn't being trained by AI models, stays encrypted, and is covered by proper data processing agreements. The safe option exists. The problem is most businesses haven't provided it. So their team is still operating like it's 2022. Microsoft research shows 78% of employees are using their very own AI tools their employer hasn't approved. and 57% won't even tell their manager they're using AI because they've never been trained on what to do and what not to do. IBM's latest data shows 1 in 5 data breaches now involve this kind of unsanctioned AI use. Those breaches cost significantly more than standard incidents, and if you want to deep dive into shadow AI, as it's called, check out the other video on the channel and we go into much more detail. But here's what doesn't work: banning AI. BCG found 54% of employees say they'd use AI tools even if they're banned. Bans don't create safety, they push that usage underground where it can't be seen or even managed. But what does work though is giving your team the right option: an approved set of tools with business tier protections, a short, clear set of rules about what data goes in and what can't, and a few hours of practical training. BCG found that 5 hours of training is the threshold where people shift from risky experimental onto regular, productive, responsible use. Less than a day. For a team your size, that's probably just an afternoon. So the solution to this mistake isn't locking down AI, it's opening it up but safely within businesses. Now, the third mistake, and this one is about professional standards. AI in 2026 is significantly better than it was a few years ago. The best models are now more accurate, more capable, and more reliable, but they still get things wrong. And the nature of how they get things wrong is what makes it completely dangerous for businesses. And that's because AI doesn't tell you when it's uncertain. It generates the most plausible sounding response, not necessarily the most accurate one. And when it's wrong, it sounds exactly as confident as when it's right. Researchers call this hallucination. You'll see it most often with specific details like names, dates, and references, or specific numbers. The broad strokes might be correct, but the specifics can be completely fabricated. Now, here's what this actually means in a professional context. If you ask an employee to draft a client report and they hand it back, you'd read it before it ever went to the client. You'd check the numbers, you'd make sure the recommendations actually made sense. You wouldn't just send it off to the client straight away, because you would want to make sure that it looked professional and represented the brand. The same standard must be applied to AI too. It's doing the first draft work and good fast draft work, but it's still a first draft. And in professional service businesses, where your advice, your numbers, and your reputation are on the line, sending unverified AI outputs to a client is no different from sending unverified work from maybe a new hire. You own the outcome either way. The fix, though, is simple in principle. Nothing generated by AI goes outside of your business without needing a named person checking it first. Not someone should review this, a specific person with a specific process before it ever goes out. BCG put this really well. Oversight has to be designed, not delegated. A vague instruction to check the work doesn't really cut it. A checklist actually does, though. So those are the 3 main mistakes I see. Now let me give you something you can actually use from today, because knowing the problems is only half of the value. The other half is knowing what to do on that Monday morning and how to action them. For mistake number 1, the fix starts before you buy anything. Sit down and identify 1 or 2 specific business problems you want AI to solve. Not just improve productivity, because that is way too vague. Something like reduce the time our team spends on our first draft for client reports from 4 hours down to 1 hour, or cut our average quoting time from 3 days down to the same day. Then all you need to do is define it, measure it, and what success will look like in 3 months, in 6 months, and make sure that you as the business owner and leader stay involved. If the person leading AI in your business doesn't have authority to make decisions, it will stall. Data shows that more than half the projects failed because of that lost AI leadership and sponsorship within 6 months. So don't be that business. For mistake number 2, we're going to need 3 things this month. Firstly, build a short list of approved tools, business tier accounts, where client data is protected and where it isn't. These cost around $20-$25 per month per user, and that's the price of a mobile phone contract to close the biggest data risk in your business. Secondly, we're going to write a one-pager AI policy, not a compliance document, a clear, simple set of rules. What data can go into AI tools, what can't, and what needs a human to review before it ever goes to client. Third, schedule training. 5 hours is the threshold the BCG identified for shifting from risky experimental onto productive use. For a team of 10 to 50 people, that's likely going to be one afternoon that changes the risk profile of your entire business when it comes to AI. And then lastly, for mistake number 3, the rule is the same one you'd apply to any maybe junior member team's work. Nothing goes external without a senior person reviewing it, but make it specific. A person's name is assigned to a specific output, and every citation is checked against the original numbers. Every number is traced back to where it came from, and every recommendation is sense checked by someone who knows the subject or outputs in depth. Put that on a simple checklist, make it part of the workflow, track whether people are actually using it, and if your team agrees with AI 100% of the time, that's definitely not oversight, that's just purely rubber stamping. And these 3 changes don't require enterprise level resources, they require decisions. And you can start making them this very week. If you found this useful, I'd really appreciate if you hit subscribe. This channel covers practical AI for businesses. No hype, no fear, just what's actually working for businesses today. And if you're watching this and thinking, I know we need to sort this out, but I don't know where to start, that's exactly what we can help with. AI for Business, we work with organizations of all size to get AI set up properly from day one. The right tools, the right policies, the right training, not a PowerPoint project. Practical implementations that fit the needs of your business and have that outcome tied to it. There's a link in the description, and if you'd like to book a call, no pressure, no pitch, you'll just chat to the team and figure out where AI actually fits in your business and what the smart next steps could actually look like. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you in the next one and have a great week.